So basically, when I went to Cabo, I was super nervous about leaving the country because I really like being stateside. And I met Amanda through, I actually went to go and stay with well, Bonham and I both went, stayed with our business coach. And he introduced us to Amanda and some other locals. And Amanda started talking about how she had moved to Cabo and she was a realtor. And I'm like, how? And my nature, of course, is to ask a bunch of questions. Lives here and still, and so then she started talking about just the international opportunity to invest in Airbnbs, and it piqued my interest. And I thought, man, if this was something that more people could learn about, she's like, well, I actually do a webinar. But then I thought, of course, you guys might benefit from that additional knowledge. So that's why we're here. And then, of course, I'll chime in on some of the financial pieces, but I want her to talk more about obtaining the properties and the opportunity and cash flow and all that kind of stuff. So I'm the opportunity and to learn as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Cristina. So I don't know, is it my internet or did Cristina, were you able to hear that? Okay. I hope it's not mine. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. But yeah, it was super, super awesome to meet Cristina while she was here visiting. So I'm going to start off here just sharing a little bit about what we're doing. And I'm actually going to go into depth on this. And so if you guys have any questions along the way, feel free to put them in the chat section here. And then I would be more than happy to get all of those answered for you. So, what we're going to talk about is building out your short-term rental investment portfolio, as you saw, using other people's properties to build this out. So you don't actually have to purchase the homes, which is kind of like an aha moment to a lot of people when I tell them that. And this is actually going to allow you to sell more homes as a real estate agent or lender or investor, but really it really helps us as real estate agents. I am also a real estate agent. And so I'm going to help you today. Really there's three things I focus on. The first thing is finding the right type of property. The second thing is furnishing the property in a way that's going to be able to attract the right kind of guest. That's important. And the third thing is filling the property with potential relocation clients, because that's where you're going to be able to, bring them in as a guest and actually turn them into a buyer. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. And I just want to say thank you to Cristina for really just putting this together. And I'm looking forward to doing this training for all of her referral partners, realtors, other lenders, whoever it is that you want to share this with. Totally okay. And so I just want to say thank you. So who am I? I've been in real estate since about 2006. And I started out as a private money lender. Then I got into flipping houses. And as you can see here at the top, I actually did a lot of work myself and learned the hard way as of, know what not to do. It's fun for the first 2 weeks. And then you're like, oh my God, when's this project going to finish? And then it's fun the last week, right? When you're putting all the finishing touches on everything. We're not flipping as much anymore. We're only flipping about 2 to 3 houses a year right now. And so that's manageable for me because I am living remotely. I'm living in Cabo right now. So our main gig is short-term and midterm rental properties. And Airbnb is considered a short-term, and midterm is like a 30, 60, 90-day stay. And so we built our entire business literally within 12 months to generate over $100,000, multiple 6 figures. And we did that in a 12-month time frame. And we were able to scale that because of what I'm going to teach you today. So I use these properties, thank you, COVID. I use these properties to actually attract relocation clients coming into our area. And I've passed hundreds of leads to all of our agents. And so This can be huge if you are a team lead, if you're the rainmaker, or if you're just an individual agent looking to drum up more business. It's just awesome. And literally, we've just focused on passive income for the last 2 years. We've done nothing besides focus on passive income. We have a few things that we're focusing on, but this is a huge one. And what brought me into this is my dad got really sick. My dad came down with cancer for the second time. And it was a type that was really, really bad. And I didn't want him to go through chemo again. He was 82 years old. And I'm just like, chemo will kill him before the cancer does. So I had been researching alternative cancer treatments for a long time. And we ended up deciding that we were going to take him down to Tijuana, Mexico. And we went down and we ended up putting our personal property on Airbnb while we were there, because I was like, well, I don't, I have enough passive income to pay for like the hard expenses. Like, it wasn't much. We only had 15 rental properties. We had 15 long-term rental properties. So that was generating about $4,000 or $5,000 a month in passive income, but it wasn't enough. So we ended up putting our personal property on Airbnb. The first 2 weeks, we got paid over $2,200, and our mortgage is only $1,500. So we were like, okay, I think we're onto something with this Airbnb thing, because we had stayed in the properties before, but we had never actually like hosted properties. And so fast forward, this is what really started us on our journey. We ended up getting a lot of properties after that. But what I do want to say about this particular house, we still have this house, and we've actually increased this rental up to $3,750 a month. So you can do the math on that, but we're running this as a midterm rental now. So our clientele coming into this home is people who are moving into Raleigh, North Carolina. A lot of people from Los Angeles. I do a lot of my marketing in California. And so just last year, and we actually spent 3 months in this house last year, but just last year, we actually made an additional $3,000 from this home as far as the income coming in off of it. And we lived there for free for 3 months. So that's just what you can do with your personal property. All right. And I had videos about house hacking and all of that stuff as well. So we've learned a lot over the years. We've gone through 27 properties over the last 3-ish years, 3 to 4 years. And what we learned was controlling the property is much more important than actually owning the property. And I'm going to talk a lot more in depth about that. But what I mean is rental arbitrage. And that's where you're actually leasing the property from the landlord, and then you're turning around and you're doing a sublease out. And so I'll go into depth on that here in a few minutes. And I also realized that with the right script, you're actually able to secure about 80% of the landlords that you're talking to. So that was a huge eye opener as well. And identifying the right house, and then also finding the hidden business within your business. And that is for the real estate agents that are watching us today. So we've done a lot right, but we've also done a lot wrong. And I learned from my mistakes, as I'm sure you do as well. And so a few things that we did wrong was, number one, we bought these houses. We bought our first 5 houses that we did this with. And some of them had well problems. So we had to hook into city water. We had to drill new wells. We had to replace HVAC units. One of them had to have all of the septic lines replaced. And what that means when you own the property is you're paying for that. That's tens of thousands of dollars coming out of your pocket. And also the house is sitting empty because you can't rent it if there's no water or you can't flush the toilet, right? So buying the homes, it's much more risk, and you just don't really know how much you're actually going to be sinking into this when you're purchasing the home. Something else is we tried turning long-term rentals into short-term rentals. You can do this if you have nice updated properties. However, most of us landlords, we have rental grade properties, right? We're not going to go in and completely renovate one of our long-term rentals and put granite and new carpet and new everything in just to rent it to someone who's probably going to tear it up. And so you do have to spend the money to update these properties if this is the way that you want to go. We also signed a lease from photos without actually seeing the property. And that was a big no-no because, as you all know, because we're all in real estate, we can cover up a lot with photos. So if there's something wrong with the wall, you put a picture on it. If there's something wrong with the floor, there's a rag on it. And so make sure you're actually seeing the property and looking behind the curtain to make sure this is something that you actually do want to rent. And then not having cameras. Cameras are super important, but you can never place the cameras inside the home or facing inside the home. So those are just a couple of things that we learned the hard way because you can actually get kicked off of Airbnb if you have a camera that's, even if it's not inside the house, if it's facing in the door, you can get kicked off of Airbnb. So super important. So the easy way is really this arbitrage method. So arbitrage is, let's just say you have a landlord friend or a client that has a property and they are wanting to find a long-term tenant for this property. So you go to them, you use the right pitch, the right script, which we give you, and you have them actually agree, and they will agree because of everything you're going to tell them with the pros and cons of renting to you versus a normal tenant. You have them agree to do a master lease with you. What a master lease is where you can actually sign the lease for you and your company on the property. So therefore, you're responsible for the monthly rent every single month. Does not matter if this property is rented or not, you are still responsible, okay? But you sign the lease for 1 year, 3 years, however long you want to do it for. And then you turn around and you furnish the property, you put all utilities on the property, and then you rent that property out for more. And that's been our huge moneymaker. Now, you can either put that on Airbnb for short-term rentals, which is a little bit more management involved in that. But if you're looking for more of the passive income, then the 30, 60, 90-day method, which is what we focus on, it's about the same amount of money that you'd be getting from Airbnb because you don't have to pay any fees. But it's also a lot less stress and it's a lot less messaging back and forth. And so you're able to use these properties, whether you're buying them or doing rental arbitrage, you're able to use these to market to relocation clients who are coming into your area. And I know that Texas is a major spot right now too for people moving into. So this would definitely work in your market. If you're in a market where people are moving to, this will work, okay? So you're solving a problem for them. What is the problem you're solving? You're solving the fact that if someone is moving to Fort Worth, Texas, and they've really never even been to Fort Worth, Texas, but they got a job transfer. Well, that person has two options. Either they can go there for a week and they can run around like a crazy person and buy a house, and they have no idea if this house is in a neighborhood that they like, if they even like the local, the closest grocery stores, like they have no idea because they're literally shopping based on what's available at the time. And then they're going under contract. And the next time they come here, they're moving into their house and it may not be the right fit for them. So that's their first option, which they're scared to death of, okay? The second option is they will move to Fort Worth, but they will sign a 12-month lease on an apartment or a home, and they're literally stuck throwing away that money for 12 months when they really just want to buy a house. And so that's the problems, right? How we're solving that is we're saying, hey, Mr. Relocator, you're coming into Fort Worth. I actually have a property fully furnished. All you need to do is bring your suitcase, all the kitchen, everything is in the kitchen, all your dishes, all your cooking, everything's there. All you do is bring your suitcase and you can stay in this property for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Hey, I can even rent it to you for 6 months. Whatever is the best option for you. So you are literally going to these relocation clients, solving their problem. And of course, they're going to want to use you as their real estate agent. And so that's what we're doing, and that's what's working so well. Getting started is super easy. There's a lot of ways to get started. And if you're someone that's like, well, I have a guest house, or I have a room above my garage, and you're okay with people like kind of living in your spot, then you could totally put one of your homes, or excuse me, one of your rooms into Airbnb. Totally up to you. You can partner with the landlord. You can pull some money out of one of your properties that you already own, usually your personal property, or you could borrow the money, obviously. You can convert a long-term rental into a short-term or a midterm rental if you already have a long-term rental. You could rent from a landlord and arbitrage the property. That's what I do. You could purchase a property and you could fix it up and build that equity as a short-term rental or a midterm rental. You're actually going to get about 4 times more money if you are renting it on the short-term or midterm rental basis versus the long-term rental basis. Or you could just purchase a property that's already turnkey, it's already furnished, there's already a system in place. Normally there's already property management in place that's going to be co-hosting that property with you. So it just depends, number one, on do you already have properties? Number two, do you have money to invest in this? And number three, how much time do you have? All right. So speaking of cost, I'm going to do the buy versus rent here. And this is, I know this is quite funny. I don't know about y'all's market, but what's your average house price in your market? Let me see.
Right now,
I just paused it because I want to bring my chat up real quick.
I want to say it's just under 300.
It's under 300?
Just under 300.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Perfect. So with this example that I'm using that just went away, here it is. Do you see my screen again? I don't know where my example went. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Ha, it's that swipe left, right thing that always gets me. Here we go. All right. So I just wanted to make sure I had everyone in the meeting room here. So I do. Now I'm going to go over this, and this is like super duper low, and Cristina can tell you more about this, but I'm using a house based on a $200,000 purchase price here at a 20% down. So that being said, you're putting, let's just say $40,000 down payment, plus you have closing costs, plus you have to furnish the property. Now you're looking at probably about $50,000 to purchase a $200,000 house to be able to do this with. Versus you can rent a property. When you're renting a property, your first month rent, your security deposit, which is normally 1 month of rent, and then your furnishings. My personal numbers on this is around $10,000 per property. That's what I'm investing into each property. This is the reason I was able to scale so quickly. If I was having to put out $50,000 for every single property, there is no way we could have scaled as quickly as we did. But if you're someone who's like, no, I want to take advantage of the market. I want to start, building my equity with these properties. I want to take the depreciation because, of course, if you're renting these, you're not able to take depreciation. So it depends on how much money you have. Cristina, if you want to chime in here about the loans that might be available to someone like this, if you were actually wanting to purchase the property.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And I think the internet connection is my phone, so my apologies. So do what? Let me try from Bonhams. Hold on.
Okay.
So
in my experience with this, when you are trying to get a loan for a property that you're going to be doing Airbnb on, my experience, because I've done a couple of cash out refis on these, they have to see a 12-month lease signed. And it may be different. Cristina may tell you something totally different, but that's just been my experience on this. Because the property doesn't have a track record of at least a year of showing a short-term rental income. So Cristina, if you have access, if you have Wi-Fi, then you can pop in there.
Okay, so yeah, basically in the past few months, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac came out and said, hey, we're only going to invest so much of our money into investment properties, whether that's going to be actual investment properties or second homes. And so a few months back, they said 7%. And just in the past few weeks, they said, just kidding, we're only going to invest 3%. So what that means is when lenders are originating these loans, if Fannie and Freddie have said, we've already utilized our maximum percentage or allocation towards those types of loans, they won't buy them from lenders. In turn, since lenders don't know what that percentage or when that percentage is maxed out, and this is a nationwide thing, they're pulling back on what they're willing to originate in their own book of business because they don't want to hold on to that loan and not be able to sell it. So with that being said, the minimum down payment for investment properties and second homes would be 25% instead of 20%. And then you're right. I mean, there's obviously going to be that cost and things like that. And the pricing or the interest rates have taken a major hit, kind of as a deterrent so that people won't want to finance them through these channels. So with that being said, what I'm telling people is if you want to look at maybe a commercial loan that might have some more flexibility, our bank can originate those. And then there is a lender that I'm connected with that does non-QM loans, basically not sellable to Fannie and Freddie, that will, so they're portfolio loans in essence. But as long as the property shows a cash flow on a monthly basis, then they will give you a mortgage for it. I'm not sure what the down payment is or what the interest rate is, but sometimes that alleviates you having to prove your own personal finances, so your tax returns and your pay stubs and things like that. So it's a little more streamlined of a process. And again, I don't know the down payment and interest rate, but I'm assuming that you will be paying for it on those because of the trade-off of the lack of documentation required. So there are options for purchase, but even as a lender who makes money when you do a loan with me, I'm really liking the idea of this, arbitrage thing. That's very, very appealing, because even when we've looked at doing an Airbnb and I look at a beach home that costs $700,000, I'm like, okay, 25% down and then reserves and closing costs. And, I'm like, okay, that's all.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, you're right on, Christina. And so, and the thing is, you don't have to buy, I don't buy these anymore. Right. But the way that you're able to use these, you're able to bring in so many clients that you're going to make up, not being able to purchase the property. You're going to make that up in just selling more properties. So, and financing more properties. Right. So thank you for sharing that. So I'm going to jump into the lessons here. I have 3 lessons for you. It's the find, furnish, and fill. And so I'm going to go into really what to look for in a property. I know I hit on a little bit, but and in the course I go into really depth on this, onto exactly how to find these properties, what to search for, what to look for as warning signs, all of that. But location is super important because it does have to be in a safe and convenient area. Now, again, you have to know what your avatar guest is. If you're in a vacation area and you're going to be doing straight up Airbnb, then you're going to want a spot that's, a grocery store is within walking distance and there's restaurants and bars within walking distance. That's a different clientele. My clientele are people relocating to the area. So my clientele are probably going to have a car and they're going to be out, they're going to be looking for homes. And so that doesn't matter. It just has to be a nice neighborhood for my personal location. Landlords, when you're working with the landlord, this is your partner. All right. And the reason why I say that is because they have to understand your business. They have to understand that if something goes wrong in this house, like the HVAC goes out or the water heater stops working, they have to fix this quick. Because if they don't, then you have to put your people, you don't have to, but it would be a nice thing to do, to put your guest into a hotel or another type of living situation, because you can't expect someone to spend $100, $200 a night and not have hot water or not have AC, right? So this is really, really important for your landlords to understand that. Ask me how I know. And then the property updated, of course. I have a whole checklist. So whenever you're going in and you're talking to the landlords and you're looking at the properties, you literally have a checklist of exactly what to look at, because there's certain things like the tub, for instance, that, it can't be nasty. It has to be like either a new tub or newly reglazed. It can't have mold or black or anything like that. I mean, this is like common sense stuff, right? But you would be surprised at the amount of people that go in to look at homes and they never open the shower curtain. That's a big, big no-no. So knowing your numbers here, this is really where you make sure you're going to be able to make some money here. So if you are doing the normal, Airbnb model, and let's just say as an example over here, your rent is $1,500 a month, then you're going to need to rent this property out for a minimum of $125 a night for 12 nights just to pay the rent. Okay. Now, this is the reason why I have a 3-night minimum on all of our Airbnbs, because you don't want to run into a situation where you've just rented out your property every weekend, Friday and Saturday night. Now you're going to lose money, right? Because it's a very small percentage of people who are going to be coming to the area just for a couple of days in the middle of the week. So make sure to think about that. Also make sure to think about, you're not only paying the rent, you're paying the utilities, you're paying the power, gas, Wi-Fi, trash, landscaping, and you're also paying insurance. So depending on, how many properties you have to have a certain insurance policy for that as well. So the second thing is furnishing the property. This is not your house, guys. It doesn't matter if you are into antiques or bright colors or whatever it is. This is not your property. This is a property that is going to attract the mass majority of people who are going to be moving into your area. So you're going to need a checklist, and you're going to need to see, exactly what you need in all of these different rooms. I love the contemporary. I do have a couple that are rustic, but like chic rustic, right? Because it's like a farmhouse, So just keep that in mind when you're going through your checklist. Your photography is super important. Guys, do not do this from your cell phone. Please don't do this from your cell phone. Have a real photographer come in and take photos, and make sure that when they do come in, this home is ready for a guest to walk in the door with their suitcase and stay for a month. All right. Make sure that you have the towels on the bed, the shampoos, all the little toiletries inside of the shower or on the counter. Make sure that you have the hair dryer out so they can see that there's a hair dryer. When you're doing the photos, make sure to do your photos inside the cabinets as well. So this is for 2 reasons. This is number one, for you to know, like, hey, this is actually what was in the property. So if anything decides to grow legs, you know exactly what that is. And then number 2, for your guest. I love to put the photos of the interior of the cabinets, showing them exactly what's in the house. I like to put them on the listing, like at the very end of the listing, because this is stuff it's not going to be important for someone who is just looking at like those first 5 photos to see if they actually want to stay in that property. But it is important for someone who's going through and they're really researching this property and they want to know exactly what's in it. So we love having those photos out there. Amenities. So if you have a pool or a gym, if you're doing like a townhouse or something, make sure to take photos of that. If you have barbecue areas or anything like that, like take all of those photos. If you're in a location that has attractions, like here I am in Cabo, right? I would take photos of, the arch and fishing and stuff like that and put that on there too. So again, knowing your avatar. And when I say avatar, that means your perfect guest, right? So knowing who that perfect guest is for you is really important when furnishing these properties as well. And also outdoors, a lot of people miss this. They do all of their photos inside, but they don't do a lot of photos of the exterior of the home. People really want to know what they're pulling into. I can't tell you how many times I've personally stayed in properties and the interior looked amazing. But then I pull up and it's like bars on the windows and like, it was just not the best neighborhood. So obviously that's not going to be a 5-star rating because that's not a great location. So just make sure that all of your photos are super inviting. And when I talk about the shampoos, conditioners, soaps, all that stuff, a lot of these I know that you already know. But the third one here is the Mayfair Hotel Supply. I love this website for all of their travel size bathroom toiletries. So I get all of my shampoo, conditioner, lotion, shower gel. Most importantly, I get the little individually wrapped makeup remover pads, and I leave these in the bathroom. Like I leave a whole thing of them. And also, when you're doing this, you should probably get a couple of black washcloths as well, because us women that wash our faces every night, you definitely don't want them using your white washcloths because, as you know, you're going to have to buy all new washcloths. If you want $40 off, if you take a picture of this and type this in, this is my link for hosting. So if you want to create a host account and get some discounts there, then you can go to this link as well. And let's get into filling the property. This is probably my absolute favorite. So filling the property, it's all about marketing the property to be able to attract the right guest for you. So when you're doing this, listing your property on Airbnb, in the course, I think it's like a 30-some minute video that literally takes you like step by step by step, and I show you exactly how to list a house on Airbnb. It will take you probably about an hour to get a property listed, because you're going to need to do a little bit of research on like how far is the closest grocery store and what is your write-up. I mean, you guys are all real estate agents, so you know how to write up a description that's going to be attractive to people coming into your area. So that's important as well. So after you get this listed, right up here where it's set, there's like a little eye here. So right beside the X, hopefully you can see that right there. You're going to click on that. And when you click on that, that is the preview for the listing that you just uploaded to your site. So over here, this is the luxury house. And this is the entire listing. I can click on share right here. And when I click on share, I can share this to anything. I can share this to my social media. I can send this in an email format, or I can just copy the link here. And then I can go over to my Facebook, which here, our company is called Carolina Furnished Rentals. And we are in Raleigh, North Carolina. And so we have a Facebook group. What I do is I come in and I post to this Facebook group. And then I share that post out to the different groups within that area. So there's for rent groups, there's realtor groups, there's marketplace, there's community groups, there's like the Women of group. I don't know if you guys have that, but we have a lot of those, like Women of Raleigh, Women of Holly Springs, Women of Apex. You probably have Women of Fort Worth, Women of Dallas. Just start researching on Facebook and see what kind of groups pop up, and then join those groups under your business page if you can. And then that way you can share into those groups. And then over here, I always share to my personal page as well, because you never know who's on your friends list on your personal Facebook page that has people moving into your area. I bet you have a lot of friends that have family members and other friends moving, and they just don't know that you could offer something like this. And so this is, again, it's kind of like a back door into like, yeah, come stay in one of our properties. Oh, and by the way, I can also help you find a property if you're looking to relocate here. So it's awesome for that. I know a lot of you are a licensed real estate agent, so I am going to spend a couple minutes on this. You can actually earn a lot of additional income by referring these leads that you're receiving from your Airbnb and midterm rental properties, or you can help them yourself. It is totally up to you, but you can grow your referral partners, nationwide, worldwide, because most Airbnb hosts And most people moving into an area, some of them don't have anyone to list their property back home. Or maybe if you know other hosts in your local area, they don't have a realtor that they can refer to someone who's staying in their property and they're thinking about relocating. So that brings in a whole other idea of like, hey, what if you connected with these hosts and you said, hey, can I create like a little welcome package with some information about the area, maybe a map, of course, a brochure or your business card showing that you are a local real estate professional and you would love to help them find a property. So start thinking outside of the box here. My intention for you today is really think about multiple streams of income. How many ways can you make money on doing one thing? That's what this is all about. We're doing real estate. How many ways can you make money doing real estate? So you can actually generate more than a 25% referral fee on these as well. And the reason I say that is because you can, of course, step in as the agent yourself. But if you're really wanting to work smarter, not harder, then you're going to be the rainmaker. You're going to be the one who is bringing in these relocation clients. You're helping with the marketing. You're doing all of that. And then you're passing these leads to the agents. 50% of these leads are going to close, by the way. You've already warmed them up. There's a lot of them are staying in your properties if you have anything available. And you're asking for, that 25 or however much you want to do. I do 25% referral fee on mine. And some of them I do a 20% referral fee because I'm with a brokerage that pays me an additional 3.5 to 4% from the brokerage commission on that deal. Plus they give me stock. So I'm a little bit more flexible with that. But if you're not with a brokerage that's paying you on top of that, then you could charge whatever you want for your referral fees. So again, multiple streams of income, guys. And just think like, how much money would that be in your pocket if you passed 10 referrals this year? Or if you closed 3 more houses this year? Like how much would that actually be for you? Because I know that could be a lot of money. So what we've covered today is how to find, furnish, and fill these properties to attract the right kind of guest, and how to use other people's properties to build your short-term and mid-term rental property portfolio. And then, of course, earning that additional income from referring the leads from the property that you are working with. So let me know here in the chat, like, where are you with this? Is this something that you're like, yeah, I want to do this? Or is this something that you're like, oh, maybe someday I'm just going to wait on this? Like, kind of where are you in this? Because I do have an offer for you guys and I would love to work with you. And just let me know here in the chat box. But I am going to talk about this because there are a lot of agents that really want to do this and they just don't know how. They don't know really anyone who's doing it. There are other people doing this, but they're not doing it for real estate agents. And as far as I know, I am the only one that's actually figured out how to use this to attract relocation clients. So that's kind of icing on the cake there. This is the HALO method. The HALO method arbitrage system is exactly what I've been going over with you today. And what this is you're going to get all of this. The first most important thing really, and the number one question I always get is, why would the landlord rent to you? Why would they rent to you knowing that you're going to turn around and you're going to rent this property out to other people? And so I have tons of scripts for this. It's really a no-brainer when you see what we're saying to these landlords and how we're pitching them. And once you get one landlord to work with you and you show them the way that you're running that business, they're going to want to buy more houses or put you as a renter for more of their houses that they already have. That's what's happening to us right now. We have a lot of landlords that are like, we want to buy more properties. And then they're actually having us pick out the properties and then they're just purchasing them and then we're renting them from them. So it's interesting how this is all working out. I also have a powerful objection sheet here with everything that we've gotten over the years of doing this and our students. We have a lot of students that get some pretty interesting questions as well. So I have a whole objection crusher sheet that comes along with this. Messaging to guests is really important, especially if you are on Airbnb. Now, you have to keep a 5-star rating on Airbnb in order to be a super host, and you don't want to lose your super host status because you're not going to get seen as much. Therefore, you're not going to be booked as much. So that's really important to have your messaging going out. Not only like your check-in, checkout messaging, but like, hey, we want to make sure you're having a 5-star experience, 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. I think I say 5-star like 5 times in all of our messaging. And so again, that's super important. And then a step-by-step video guide on how to really, I go into the find, furnish, and fill in videos, and I have it all segmented out into anywhere from 3 minutes to 15-minute segments, different modules. And it's exactly what you need at that point in time. So if you're like, I don't know what to say to a landlord, I have a meeting in 20 minutes. Well, you're going to go into the module, you're going to go, what do I say to a landlord? And it's going to pop up and you're going to watch a 6-minute video of how I pitch the landlord. You also have the script there to go along with that as well. So you have a little cheat sheet, but you're not pitching the landlords over the phone. Okay. That's really important. Never, ever, ever pitch a landlord over the phone. This has to be done in person or on Zoom. Okay. Super important. Landlord presentation and a checklist. So I don't know if you remember, as I was talking, as you're walking through these properties, looking at everything, you're doing a presentation the entire time. And you also have a checklist that you're going through to see what, is this house going to work for you and your business? Because most houses are not going to work for you and your business. 90% of the houses that you go look at that are long-term rentals, they are not going to be the quality that you need to have a 5-star business, to be a super host on Airbnb. So when you do this correctly, you're going to knock it out of the park every single time. Also, the attorney written master lease and sublease contracts. Now, you're always going to need the master lease because this is going to allow the landlord to rent to you and you to be able to sublease this property out. I paid my attorney $3,000 to write this lease, like insane, but hey, it protects us, right? And then also the sublease contract, you don't need this if you are 100% renting on Airbnb or VRBO, but you do need this if you are renting directly. So at this point, we are 95% booked just from all of our own marketing and our own website. So this is the lease that I use to sublease to all of our guests who are coming into our properties. And then last but not least, access to our private Facebook group where we collaborate, we ask questions, I go live in there. And it's really cool to like see everyone who's making this happen, and they're getting their first Airbnb and they have questions and like we're all pitching in, answering those questions for them. So that's the course. I do want to tell you about this mother-daughter team of ours that they actually, they took the course, they used their walkout basement as an Airbnb property. And if you look here in the middle, their Airbnb attracted a $1.8 million client, and they're right outside of Denver, Colorado. And she just texted me last night. I think they're on like their 6th property at this point. And it's just super exciting to see how much they've grown. And they were just on a podcast in May as well. They're just rocking it, man. They're taking all of the systems, they're taking everything that we've taught them, and they're just going after it. And they're also real estate agents as well. They work with me, with my company, and they're awesome. So just wanted to share a little bit about them. So I am asking you to buy this today, right? I'm asking you to invest in this and make an investment in yourself, because I don't know about you, but I've wasted money on a lot of stuff. Okay. Of course, all the normal stuff like the eating out, coffee, all that crap, especially this past year. But what's most important is wasting money on something that you don't do, right? Buying a course or doing something that you're never going to do. This course is super easy because it is broken down into the different modules. And so I am asking you to make an investment in yourself, because you do have to learn this business. And you do have to start creating the multiple streams of income today, because if you keep putting this off, you're going to get to a point where you're 60 years old, you're 80 years old, and you're still having to trade time for dollars, meaning sell a house, get paid, sell a house, get paid, right? There's no other money coming in from that. So I'm just trying to ease you into that. So this is everything that comes in the course. It is 8 hours of content as well. And so when you add all of that up, that comes to over $5,000 worth of stuff that is in there. And what it looks like is this. This is kind of the back end. So I'm giving away a few bonuses as well if you choose to partner up with us on this. This is a how to find the money. So there's some people watching and you're like, I don't even have $10,000. Like, what are you talking about, right? Well, there's different ways to find the money. And I did a little video about that. And also I will do a phone call with you as well, where we can actually dive into exactly like, what does your finances look like and what do you have access to? And so we'll help you find that money. The second bonus is a behind the scenes video. This is like a 37-minute video that my videographer did. I did a 4-hour workshop before COVID hit us. I went to 4 of our properties and I took about 15 people with me that wanted to learn the Airbnb business. And so he took all of the training and tips and everything that we were giving in this workshop and broke 4 hours down into 37 minutes. And so just watching this one video, you're going to be like mind blown because there's a lot of great tips that are in this. And then the third bonus is that step-by-step guide of exactly how to list your very first Airbnb, because there's some stuff that it's not just like a normal thing where you can go list a property on the MLS, right? There's certain things where if you check the wrong box, like for instance, it's going to ask you if you want to give your first 3 guests a 20% off. If you say yes to that, and then you have these other discounts in place for weekly discounts or monthly discounts, then it's going to add those discounts together. So I did this. I had a 20% monthly discount, and then I had a 20% discount on my first 3 bookings. I gave 40% off, guys, on my first booking and with one of my properties. I had no idea, and there's nothing I couldn't do anything about it. These people got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house for $43 a night. And I was about to, I lost money that month, obviously. So don't do that. Make sure that you follow a system when listing these and you know exactly how to do it. So the Halo method, I normally sell this for $14.97. As you can see, it's worth a heck of a lot more than that because you're going to make about $1,000 your very first month in profit on this. So that's why I broke it down to $997. So the price on that's $997. If you go to, and I'll post this in the chat here too, or Cristina, if you want to post that, it's mypassivelife.com/purchase. And that will actually take you to the page, and it tells you a little bit more about what we have in the course. But I do want to show you a couple of other things because, yeah, you can buy the course all day long. You have all of the tools, right? You have the scripts, you have the contracts, you have the templates, you have the email templates, you have the landlord letters, you have all the videos, like you have everything in the course. But what you really need is you need access to a community. And that's why I created this Halo Method Arbitrage community on Facebook. It's a Facebook group, private Facebook group. And this is where all of our students are in here and they're posting about, their newest rentals. And if they have any questions, they're posting it in here. And this is the group that I go live in as well. Either myself or my partner, Alex, right down here, Alex Calham. We answer every single post in this group. Okay. It's me or him. There's no assistants. No, it's me or him. We're the ones that built this business, and we're the ones that are going to be here to help you build your business as well. So this is just a few examples of some of the students that have hired us and bought our course, and we're just super proud of them. So if all I did today was I started you on the right path to creating the passive income, I think that's worth you spending about an hour with me, right? Or maybe I gave you that little kick in the butt that you needed just to finally get moving. Or maybe I gave you an idea to close 4 or 6 more homes this year. Hopefully that will all be worth you spending some time with me today. So you can definitely do this yourself. Like, guys, I am nothing special. I figured this out. I spent a boatload of money. I made a lot of mistakes. I only shared 4 of my mistakes with you today, but there's a lot more. And I wasted a lot of money on this. And so what you need is you need a mentor. You need a system. You need the scripts, you need the documents, you need the templates, the support, you need all of that in line, and you need to know exactly the steps to do it. Because when doing this correctly in the right steps, then there's no way you can fail. And if you commit to this, I'm not going to let you fail. All right. So you can do this the hard way or the easy way, totally up to you. This is everything again, over $6,000 worth of content here. Like I said, I paid $3,000 just for these leases, like craziness. And by the way, these leases are good for all 50 states. They're not only North Carolina, because that is where I run my business. You can actually take this to your attorney. There's addendum A, B, and C, where they will put in there on whatever state you're in, whatever the regulations are for that state. So instead of paying $3,000 for an attorney written master lease, then you might pay a couple $100 to your attorney to review it and make sure that it's abiding by the rules of your state. So that's going to save you a boatload of money. So I will guarantee you this. I guarantee that if you spend 4 weeks on this content and you actually go through and you watch the videos and you do exactly what I tell you to do, and if you're not 100% satisfied, then I will give you 100% of your money back, because I know the system works. And I know that any agent or anyone who goes in and they dive into this content, you will be successful if you put the action behind it. Okay, that's the big thing. You got to put the action behind it. And we're here to help you with that. So I'm going to end with this. What if you couldn't work for 6 months? That's what happened to me. Remember when I said my dad got sick and I took him to Mexico? So we were really busy. We were flipping 3 to 4 houses a month at that point. I owned my own brokerage at that point. We were super busy. I not only was doing all of that, but I had my buyers and my sellers. I think I had like 2 or 3 listings that month that I got that phone call. And I literally just had to like put everything on hold and leave and move to Mexico. And that went on for months. And not only did that go on, but when we got back home, we ended up curing my dad's cancer, but something else happened to him with his heart. And I literally was there almost every single day for months at a time. I couldn't work. I mean, thank God we had our long-term rentals. And then at this point, we had built up our Airbnb properties. And then I get a revenue share from our broker, GXP, as well. But like, if I didn't have that, I would have lost everything. I would have lost my house because I wouldn't have been able to pay the mortgage on it because I was living there at the time. You know, I would have lost a lot of stuff. And so I want you to really think about this, because sometimes, I don't know if this has happened to you, I know it happened to me, but we get that call where it's either you that get the bad results from the doctor, that something's wrong with you physically and you have to go take care of that because your health is number one. Or maybe it's your spouse, or maybe it's your parents. It's going to be someone in your life, and it's going to be tragic. And that you're nothing's going to matter besides fixing what's wrong, fixing that person, healing yourself. Work doesn't matter. And so a lot of people, this is why people go broke. This is why people go bankrupt. They didn't expect something bad to happen, but it did. And they didn't have a plan to back it up. They didn't have a plan of passive income to be able to pay those hardcore expenses that you have to pay every single month. And so that's just kind of getting real with you guys on that. That could be your why. I know that was my why. But you know, a lot of you can't even take a real vacation. I know the feeling. Okay. I know the travel guides very, very well. Every time you book a vacation, you've got 5 new clients coming along wanting to buy a house or sell a house, right? So what if you could actually take a real vacation and not be strapped to your cell phone and get in a fight with your husband or your wife because you're working while you're on vacation? How would that feel for once? Or maybe your kids not asking you, oh, when are you going to stop working so we can go to the beach, Mom? Like, I know what that feels like. And I want you to be able to take a real vacation. And that's what having passive income does. That's what having multiple streams of income does for you. And that is what, you know, bringing in those 4 to 6 new clients every single year will do for you as well. So again, this is your first investment in yourself. That's it. And I'll post the link here. It's mypassivelife.com purchase. And I'm going to stop my screen share and come back to you guys here. Oh, I see questions. Yay. All right. So if you want to open your mic, totally you can. Let's see. I'm going to go back and try to read all of these, but you feel free to open your mic. Okay, interesting, like more information. Okay, yes. Want to, but the market is so tough right now for buying. Would love to find an arbitrage rental. Exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm big into arbitrage. And I know the rents have gone up. They've gone up in my area too, but that means your rents have gone up as well. So think about this. I don't know give me some rent numbers here that you guys are dealing with. So in North Carolina, I can rent a really nice house for $2,000 a month. And my bread and butter are 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses. And that $2,000 house, I will be able to rent for about $3,500. My goal is to make at least $1,000 profit on every single home that I have in this system. And so that being said, $3,500 a month to stay in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Raleigh, North Carolina, that sounds really high to someone who's from Raleigh, North Carolina. But that doesn't sound high to someone who's from Los Angeles, California, like I was, and I paid $4,500 a month to stay in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in Santa Monica. So when you're talking to those people, they're used to paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month for rent in an unfurnished apartment or an unfurnished townhouse or something very small. They're used to paying that. So when they see this big 3-bedroom house on a half acre of land for $3,500, they are all over it. And they're paying for the convenience to be able to do this. It's a convenience. They're not having to sign a 12-month lease. They're not having to move their stuff twice. They're not having to set up all the utilities and everything in their name. They're paying for the convenience of staying in these properties for a short term. Hopefully that makes sense, Lynn. Yes, so y'all's market would be great. Perfect. If a couple buys the system, can they both have access? Absolutely, yes. Yeah, husband, wife, yeah, both of you would get access to the Facebook group, 100%. You would have one login for the behind the scenes. So I have a whole members area with all of my modules and everything. So you would all have that one login, but you would definitely both be in the Facebook group. Yes. Any other questions? All right, I'm going to stop the recording. For those of you that are catching this on the replay, thank you for your time today. And we'll post the mypassivelife.com/purchase. That's where you can find out more information. So I appreciate your time, and I'm going to stop the recording.